Hi, I'm Lou with another episode of My Car Story. I'm here with George Hansen, and George's been on the program before. You want to check out a great or the greatest Ford T-Bird, the 57, you got to check out George's car. But today, we're talking about a car that a friend of his can't get out of my mind because he called it the Battleship. So let me grab the camera as I usually do. So George, what is the car that is the Battleship?
It's a 73 Eldorado Convertible. I bought it in 1977. It just turned 44,000 miles. I've had it all this time. And I think one of the best features of the car is the color combination. Park Avenue gray with a red interior and the red pinstriping really seems to set off the car.
Do you ever see a car in this color that's a Cadillac?
Less than 1% of the 73 Cadillacs were this color.
Amazing, amazing. Now come on back with me. Let's go right to our featured attraction. This car in 73, even still today, I mean, it's the Big Daddy. When you're driving in the Big Daddy Caddy, you were somebody in 73 driving something like this. The Cadillac was the standard, and this just is a great representation. I'm so pleased to be able to video your car, and I've been waiting to do it, so thanks, George. Now tell me, why this car in 77 did you have to have this car?
Well, in that time, the 76 Eldorado was going to be the last convertible ever. And in 77, people were paying crazy money for the 76s because that was the last one. And I thought, well, I had a 66 Bonneville that needed restoration. I thought instead of restoring that, I should buy an Eldorado convertible. So I found this one, and I remember the first time I drove up in front of the man's house that was selling it, the color just really grabbed me. I knew I was going to drive the car home because of the color. It's just a very elegant combination. So that's why I wanted the 73, an Eldorado convertible that supposedly was going to be a real collector's item, but didn't turn out that way. The cars really went down in value as the 70s progressed. And it's only been recently that the Eldorados have started to go up in value. But it has the largest V8 engine that any American manufacturer ever produced in a production car.
What's the engine?
500 cubic inches.
Okay, that is a lot.
Huge. It's a front-wheel drive car.
Oh, really?
The Eldorado's front-wheel drive came out in 1968, I believe, was the first Eldorado front-wheel drive. And they progressed into the late 70s.
I'm stopping here for a second. Do they call this a tonneau cover or something? What do they call it?
It's called a hard boot.
Hard boot, okay.
It's a fiberglass boot.
And what is this?
And it was an option. That's the electronic eye that when you're driving, if you have your bright lights on and a car is coming towards you, it will automatically dim your bright lights.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And they put it right back there?
Yeah. In the earlier cars, it was on the dashboard. In this car, it was in the back.
Enjoy that embossed emblem and that nice red stripe in the molding down the side is just fantastic. And the back of the Cadillac, too, was so sweet with the thin taillights on this massive back end. Really gave them spacing, for no better term, when you'd hit the brake lights. And just wonderful the way that works. Let me just feature that too. That's right behind there is where the, I'm guessing the gas goes here.
Yes, this is...
Okay, so the gas is there. And then this is just the trunk.
It's for the trunk, yeah.
There you go. Okay, just like
and the
that.
trunk, like all Cadillacs, it has a pull-down, an electric pull-down when you lower the trunk lid.
Okay, let's open her up, please. Thank you, George.
The design of this car is pretty basic from 71 through 76 when they made the last Eldorado convertibles. But the back end of this car is unique to this year. This was the only year that they had that kind of a rear end.
This is really interesting here, right on the door.
The wiper.
Oh, yeah, of all places, right?
Mm-hmm. It has electric door locks. It has power windows.
The Trackmaster on the...
Trackmaster is a predecessor to anti-lock brakes. One thing about this car is it was ordered by a Cadillac dealer. The owners of Fields Cadillac ordered this car in '73. And as far as I can tell, it has every option on it that you could get on a Cadillac. The Trackmaster was unique to it. The split bench seat is unique. Not many of the 73s had that. It also is power on both sides. It has a thermometer on the mirror. The hard boot was an option back then. So it's a very fully optioned car.
You get the nice knobs make you feel very special.
Oh yeah, yeah, a lot of detail in the dashboard and the chrome and the little designs. Like there's a design on the
knob there.
on the knob. All this embossed wood here. Wood
Yeah.
in that
feature
area.
that. That is really great. So George, let me look at the dash here. Convertible top. rear
Also,
defog,
the
antenna.
mirror is remote controlled from there, which was pretty
really?
unique in '73.
Yeah.
I know you kind of take that for granted today, but back in '73, that was another option.
And how it has the luxurious wood next to the clock. Interesting. Big. What is right here? Just a. Oh, it's a light or something? Yeah, it appears to be
Yeah,
a
that's
light. Got
dash
it.
light. And a little wastebasket there in the corner.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that.
If you've got a Kleenex you want to throw away.
The big ashtrays and the lights on the side.
And the ashtrays.
Now this is
have
interesting. We
lighters
got
in them.
cruise here,
Yeah.
and yet I got cruise there.
Well, that's where you turn the cruise on,
Okay,
and this is where you adjust it.
on the stock.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it has a steering wheel that.
Let's pop the hood. Go ahead. You were gonna say something about the steering wheel. Steering wheel adjuster.
It adjusts.
Got
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. No small hood.
No, the hood must weigh 100 pounds.
I want to get this from the side. George, you're about what, 6 feet tall?
I'm 6'1".
6'1". That's a big hood. There's no messing around, and there's the 500 cubic inch engine, as it
Very
states.
reliable, very dependable. Burns a lot of gas.
This is a time where this was probably just when they were starting to get into the emissions,
Yes.
and '73 was kind of that
Exactly.
year.
Exactly.
So this was actually almost a rebellion to the emissions, was driving something like this at that time with this much size to it.
Very heavy car. Everything about the car is big, heavy, solid.
Even the bracing on the inside of the,
Yeah.
yeah. So you need to brace yourself for this engine as you open up. And the interesting kind of, usually they'll have the air conditioning off to the side. They've got it kind of center mounted there. You get some instructions here on what to do. And because it's front wheel drive, it is interesting that the engine sets like a normal engine.
It's in
not
transverse,
sideways.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So all of this is the transmission down here, and as I'm thinking about it, we have a flat. There's no hump.
There's a flat floor. Yes.
There's a flat floor, no hump. I didn't think about that until just now. Let's.
This was the beginning of the front-wheel drive. Actually, 67, I believe, is when the Oldsmobile came out with front-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And that was the Tornado. And this was basically based on that kind of structure, the Eldorado, the front-wheel drive Eldorado. And the front-wheel drive Cadillac came out, I think it was in 67 or 68.
Let me ask you a couple of personal questions. So, what's the reaction when you and your wife get in this one?
Well, it's like getting in a boat, you know. It's just so big, but it's so comfortable. The seats are so comfortable. You could drive this car for days and not get tired in it. It just cruises along the highway at 70 miles an hour, just effortlessly.
So what's the reaction I was mentioning with people when they see you in this?
This car gets a lot of attention. It really does, and I think a big part of it is the color. It is just a really unique color combination. So as a result of that, people are drawn to it, and gets a lot of attention.
Let's start up those 500 cubic inches. Let's hear what it sounds like. That's smooth, George. Let me get a little exhaust note. Oh, listen to that rumble. That's a nice rumble. That's a nice rumble. Do me a favor, turn on the turn signal. I just want to show people what that looks like from up here. That's all right. See how that does that. I just want to show people the taillights too. Do me a favor, step on the brakes, please. What I'm sharing with these taillights that so far spaced apart, but really look good at night. All right, George, let's turn off the turn signal. Let's shut her down. Come on, right next to your. Let's come right next to your car here. I also noticed separate radiators, which is a massive radiator in and of itself. I mean, that's just massive. I mean, there's my arm. It's like half of my arm, all right? And then there's the whole other half. And the second radiator just as massive in front of it. Oh, my goodness. So
this is when cars were big, when Cadillacs were big. And, I'm going to tell you kind of an interesting story about this if you have a minute.
Yeah, let's shut the thing in. Absolutely, I want to hear your story.
I'm a little embarrassed to tell it, but it's interesting. I'm
more intrigued.
I bought the car in '77, and about a year later, I was going to get married, and I thought, well, it was an extra car. I could use the money. So I advertised it and I sold it. And as the guy drove it out of the driveway down the street, I think, oh, what did I do? So about a year, not even a year later, and in fact, before the year was up, I was looking at other cars, and I always compared them to this. And I'd see a car that I thought I'd want to buy, but my car had this and this car doesn't. So I always compared it to this car. And I was downtown. I'm a piano player. I was playing at the Playboy Club. And on my way home one night, I was on Rush Street, and I saw my car. I knew it was this car, because this car, at the time that I bought it, had a plug in the trunk where a phone had been, for the aerial for the phone. And I started honking at the guy, and he pulled over, and we stopped and we talked at 2 o'clock in the morning on Rush Street. And he was not the gentleman I had sold the car to. It was another gentleman. And I told him my interest in the car and that I would like to, he said, I'm not going to sell it. But I gave him my number, and a couple months later, he called me and said he was buying a '76, which was the real hot car back then, and that he would sell me this car back. And I didn't even ask him what he wanted for it. I said, yes, I'll take it. So I bought this car, sold it, and bought it back.
So it's always been a member of the family, and it finally came home where it was supposed to.
Came home to where it's supposed to be, and it will be here until I'm gone.
George, always fun seeing you. Thanks so much for letting us video your Cadillac, and as a good friend of ours, Roger, shared the Battleship because of its color. Thanks so much for being on My Car Story.
All right, thank you, Lou. It was fun. I appreciate it. Thank you.